guys, what's going on? It's Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today I'm joined by my man. I teased him in 2 days video ago. It is DeadwoodJedi. Deadwood, what's up, man? Welcome to the channel.
How you doing, man? It's good to be here. Thanks for having me. This is
Yeah, man. I
a
mean, look,
nice
here
fresh
we
spot
are.
to be.
My account. Dude, you are like the account doctor, especially when it comes to Clan Boss. I see you helping out everybody. And you know me, I'm a little greedy. I'm a little selfish. I was a little jealous. I saw you improving everybody's Clan Boss teams. First of all, I want to start out the video with a huge shout out to your website, DeadwoodJedi.com, and your YouTube channel. You've been killing it, man. Before we get into Clan Boss strategy, what kind of the meta is in terms of the most effective teams right now in the game, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you've been at YouTube for a few months now. How'd you get into it, and what do you specialize in?
Oh yeah, man. So I've been doing this for. By the way, thank you for that intro. That's great. But I've been doing this for like I guess 4 or 5 months now. I put out my calculator on my website. I sometime in I want to say like in March or April. In the spring, and just kind of been making videos since then, kind of learning on the job, as I say, just trying to do new stuff. And, you know, my focus has been primarily speed tuning, primarily clan boss stuff. I'm branching out a little bit more, trying to do some more arena things. We have an arena calculator on there, so you can actually speed tune your arena teams, which is pretty cool and pretty fun. Just a lot of things up there. I got a lot of guides and resources from other parts of the community as well. So really trying to make that website a resource for people to go to, a place where they can go and like, what I need to know this thing about the game or figure this out, and not, you know, just go to deadwoodjedi.com and you have all the information right there. And then on my YouTube, I do a lot of like, you know, walking people through Clan Boss, trying to figure out, you know, do a lot of count takeovers, showing how you can make your champions work better for you in the Clan Boss. Because, you know, that is what it all comes down to. Ash, is just like taking what you have and maximizing what they can do. That's speed tuning. That's what I try to do the most of. It's what I try to show people, you know, hey, this is what you can do with your account. Doesn't matter the champions you have. It's about how you use them, and that's how you're really going to maximize what you can do.
Yeah, I was surprised, man. Like prepping for today's video, I was like, dude, you think I can, you know, one key Ultra Nightmare? You think you can get me there? And you're like, well, do you have, you know, Seeker? And I'm like, yeah. Do you have Painkeeper? It's like you were naming all these, you know, and I know from watching your videos and checking out your website that this is the case, but most of the champions you were naming were not the most OP legendary champions in the game. So it just goes to show there's kind of uses for a lot of different champions. And we're always kind of discovering, and when I say we, it's really the royal we, because it's mostly you and guys like that and your team that are always discovering new ways. Like, talk about your most recent discovery, for lack of a better term, in Raid Shadow Legends, no matter where it's about, or one maybe, I don't know, recent revelation that you had.
Oh yeah.
Where,
I just had a huge series of videos. You know, like when I'm coming up with this stuff, it's never just me, right? I'm always working with other people. There's so many smart folks in this game. And actually, just to tease it out, we got another big one coming this weekend. We got another another friend of mine came up with an awesome kind of evolution of all these crazy compositions. I'm really excited to show that out. So we're gonna probably show that out sometime this week, and I got to find some time to get together with him. But it's pretty exciting. But yeah, I mean, I just released a 3-1 ratio team. So, you know, when basically I have a team going so fast that your champions are taking 3 attacks in between each clan boss attack. It is the most broken, silly, stupid thing. It's not optimized. And you know, the worst part about it was I was like, I can do this on my account, which my account, it's very good, but it's not like, you know, Murder Inc. level or
you're not rocking like an 18 million power total account power.
Not even close to that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have way more power than I do.
Gotcha.
But the thing is that I was like, I can make these speeds, I can do this, I can make this happen. And then Plarium's like, we're going to balance all the champions. I'm like, cool. So my Siffy just turned from God tier to like still pretty God tier, except for Clan Boss, because they changed their cooldowns on her skills. So I was like, I have to do this now or I'll never do it again. It was like the busiest week of my life, because I'm just like trying my damnedest to make this thing work and like get it going before they ruin it. I literally finished my last run, like I think 2 hours before they did the reset and like changed all the champions.
Oh my word! And you were able to get it done though?
Yeah, I was able
And
to
now
get it
it's all
done.
ruined.
I was able to put out a bunch of videos, get it done. It was super exciting and very cool to do. But like,
Yeah.
when we
Now
brought out
it's
the 2-1 teams, that was game breaking for the community, game breaking for the meta for Clan Boss. And now then I was like, you know what, we could do a 3-1, and actually having proof of concept that it can be done, it can be made. It's not practical yet, but you know what? I'm sure there's somebody brilliant out there that is watching right now that's gonna be like, I know how to make that work. And
okay.
that's kind of the whole idea, right? It's all
Yeah.
community driven. Like I come up with some ideas, and then it's like I don't need to finish it. I just need to put it out there and let everybody else kind of work on it themselves, because that's half the fun of it, is creating these things. So
Yeah, so let's talk. Let's take like a zoomed out view of Clan Boss in general. Right? Is maybe name a few champions that people should recognize that may or may not be typical Clan Boss champions. Let's say some of my viewers who are like currently on, I don't know, brutal, hard, kind of in that area. What champions should they be on the lookout? That again maybe aren't the traditional, Kales and Skull Crushers and stuff like that, kind of the popular meta champions in that area. I mentioned Seeker, I mentioned Man Eater, Painkeeper. Beyond that, like, what are some of your favorite Clan Boss champions? What do you see as S tier champions in the game, whether they're legendary or whether they're epic or rare champions?
100%, 100%. Yeah, there's it's amazing how many champions are extremely good at Clan Boss that you just wouldn't expect it. And we haven't. I mean, I feel like people have delved pretty deep into what can be used for Clan Boss, but there's so much more depth there. There's so much more to find. One of the champions is, so like there's a champion that a lot of people have come to me about, but I don't have them, so I haven't been able to test it.
Yeah, it's tough. Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but there's a champion, Flesh Terror, who does really interesting things. He both extends debuffs on the clan boss, but also extends the buffs on your champions. It's a really unique kind of kit. I haven't seen him like really optimized yet, but I know that he can be extremely effective. Some champions though that I have used pretty that are pretty amazing for clan boss. One of my favorites, who I recommend, especially if you are earlier level and you pull this champion, is one of the best epics in the game for progression, especially, and really good for clan boss, Vergis. If you can find a
Okay.
Vergis on your account, that dude is amazing. All his skills are on 3-turn cooldown, so you don't have to run him fast. But he puts a speed buff on one of your champions so that you can actually run a champion at a fast speed without having to break all your gear out. He's really good. The ally protection is extremely strong. He puts a shield on himself. A lot of stuff in there that's really good, and he's good for progression, I say, because in like dungeons or campaign, he does a lot to keep your allies and himself
Yeah, I
alive.
was gonna
So
say he's impossible to kill. Like I remember seeing the buff because he sucked, before they buffed
yeah,
him, what, 6 months ago, whatever it was. And
yeah.
now it's just like reading his kit, and I'm showing it in the background too. It's just like, wow, dude, like good luck killing this guy.
100%. I faced
Yeah.
him in the arena the other day, like gold 4, facing him in the arena, and I just couldn't kill him. Like the rest of his team was dead. Like I was going to kill him eventually, but it was like, how many turns is this going to take? This guy just won't go down.
Right.
He's a really, really good champion. So that's definitely one person I highly recommend.
I love
Um,
that you mentioned him. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's some others that are a little bit more meta.
Mhm.
Sandlash Survivor is fantastic champion, can really make pretty much any team better, just because she does a wonderful job of extending buffs. If you build her with crit rate and lots of defense, she can actually hit really hard. And her and every move is an attack. So even when she extends buff, it's this AoE attack that's really good. She's very good. She's got a great aura, so she can be your speed lead on a champion. And then she has this passive ability, which is great. That's like a break in case of emergency ally protection that helps keep your team alive when they're about to go down. So she's one of my favorites as well. Steel Skull, of course, is that is the one champion that I mentioned pretty much every chance I get. Gets overlooked, especially by newer players. They don't recognize how good this kit is. But Steel Skull is a excellent poisoner, not necessarily as your main poisoner. Like I've used Steel Skull. So I don't know if you know this about my account. For the longest time, I could not get myself a decent poisoner. I didn't have an Aethar. I didn't have an Occult Brawler. Frozen Banshee wasn't even around yet. Certainly didn't have a Draco.
Hmm.
So my only poisoner was Steel Skull. And I found ways to maximize Steel Skull's ability. That increased defense on their A3, the one you're showing right now, is
Yep.
just such a strong ability. Having increased defense on your team will help you last so much longer in the game. the poisons on the A1. I mean, Steel Skull definitely needs to be booked, but that poison, it's inconsistent. But especially if you can bring in a debuff extender, it's so good. Which actually that leads perfectly into the next one. If you're looking for a debuff extender, there is very few that are better than Bulwark. Bulwark is a rare champion
Yeah.
everybody pretty much has access to, and he is amazingly good. He hits really hard, especially for a rare champion. He hits on par with a lot of epic champions. You can build him with defense. He brings a weaken debuff, which pairs exceedingly well with a lot of champions that just bring the decreased defense, like Tyrell. He brings an HP burn, which is nice. And then when he gets hit, he has a chance to extend debuff. So it's a passive thing. So you can put him as your stun champion. You can put him as your lead, let him get hit. And like, who cares? None of his skills are crucial that he's putting on constantly. And at the same time, he's going to extend all the debuffs you already have out there. He's really, really good. That's definitely somebody I recommend. But yeah, I think that gives a fair.
That's a really good. It's a really good list because there are, like I said, you know, in the original question too, is like people, we all know about the Tyrells of the world. You know, we all know about like the classic clan boss champions in this game. So these are some names you mentioned, especially like Vergis too, that in Bulwark to an extent is that these champions surface some of the same utility, but aren't talked about as much. And I noticed with, I think all of these champions, maybe with one exception, I don't know, they're all defense-based champions. Do you think that defense-based champions, this is something that I've obviously experienced in the last maybe 6 months of the game myself, as I focus more on endgame content, on, you know, Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, Faction Wars especially, and even Tag Team Arena, thinking, you know, more than just speed teams in the arena. I noticed the power of defensive-based champions goes above and beyond what I initially thought it was. Everybody knows because like every YouTuber kind of says, oh, they're defense based, that's good, you know, but to expand upon that too, it's just like, well, it's really good because you can give increased defense for more damage. They're tougher to kill and it scales with their attack. I mean, there's so many reasons. So do you think that inherently increased defense champions for Clan Boss and beyond are just like have a huge leg up, and anything that you kind of want to expand upon on that?
Oh, completely. Look, I mean, we have to understand where people are in the game, right? Like if you're when you're an end game player, when you're playing Platinum Arena, you're still chilling in Gold 4, you have the gear, you have the champions. You can really, you know, make your guys able to do whatever it is you want. But when you're starting out or you're in the mid game, when, you know, you only have like, say, a dozen champions that are level 60 for that matter, not to mention the gear to put them in, you have to be judicious in how you do that. And when, you know, you don't have all legendary pieces, you don't have all 6-star pieces, for crying out loud, you probably have a couple 4-star pieces you're trying to fit in there. You know, you're going with some mixed sets because you don't have enough of everything, and it becomes really difficult. When you can minimize the amount of stats you need to get, it makes it that much easier to gear out those champions. Like, look, your account, you have so many level 60 champions. I'm sure you have tons of gear. It's not going to be hard for you to gear out, you know, 10 attack champions, 10 defensive champions, 10 HP champions, and make them all unique and well built and good. But when you only have like, you know, 6 to 10 level 60 guys, you know, you're struggling at Dragon 17. You just don't have that kind of gear. So being able to focus on defense is huge, because now all I have to worry about, I don't have to worry about the substats so much. All I have to do is make sure they have defense on. And now not only are they going to survive, but they're going to hit hard too. Makes the game so much easier. And there's a ton of good defensive champions that work for this game that are already available to you. You know, I think we just named a few of them, but you know, also, you know, you got that free to play Rosin fusion. There's lots of them out there, and it makes it so much easier in the early levels to really get your champions up to snuff in Clan Boss.
Yeah, and like what I've been doing, honestly, is just kind of going through my vault, taking a look at some of these champions that I haven't really focused on, that are defense based in Faction Wars that I still need to beat, you know? And I'm like, okay, who do I have that's defense based? I don't really care. If you're bringing anything to the table, I'll consider, right? Because in like, you know, I just think that there's a lot of champions like this that, again, I'm reconsidering and reevaluating, because to me, kind of like, you know, not to be a degenerate gambler, but kind of like in sports gambling, I'm going to give them the automatic like home field advantage, 3 points or whatever, just by having like they automatically, whatever their champion grade is, I'm almost treating it like a whole letter score above. So
Yeah.
if the
Well,
kit looks like a C kit, I'm thinking B if it's a defense.
I mean,
Obviously, yeah.
attack champions, you gotta figure out the whole team, because you have to find a way for them to survive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the thing. It's like attack champions will hit hard, but how are they going to survive when they get hit?
Sure.
And when you get to the higher levels, you're gonna get hit. There's no avoiding it. Like, there's something I tell people with the clan boss is, like, you're not gonna kill him. Like, the clan boss is gonna kill you at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no getting away from that. So you still have to find a way to survive with that. So that's why, attack champions are great, but you need to, really incorporate a lot more stuff to make them viable. Whereas defensive champions, you just have to build them because they have survivability built in their kit. This is actually one of the reasons that it's kind of transitioned a little bit. One of the reasons why these unkillable comps are such the meta right now, why so many people are trying to do them, is because it allows you to build attack champions like attack champions,
Yeah.
bring them into the clan boss, and have them be effective, because you don't have to worry about them surviving. You have unkillable block damage, revive on death buffs on these guys, so they don't have to concern themselves with survivability. It's been eye-opening at how many people use these unkillable comps and how
Yeah.
effective they are.
Yeah, and moving into the unkillable comps or just like the kind of the speed tune teams, what do you think is the most powerful strategy right now in raid meta for clan boss overall?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the biggest meta, I mean, by far the biggest meta is anything involving Maneater.
Like
Just
dead on
because,
boards comp here at the top.
yeah. So like you have the you have the 2-1, the Batman. It's a comp created by Napoleon Camembert. The Batman Eater, which has been kind of developed by Rust, which is like that next level where you have a 2-1 team using 2 man-eaters, and just makes you unkillable, makes you unable to have debuff blocks. Yeah, Dead on Board is running that comp right there, and it is really, really effective. But we also just came out with, not too long ago, like I want to say like less than a month ago, I came out with the budget unkillable for all 3 affinities.
Okay.
So there's the budget version of this, right?
I like
Where
that. I like that. Yeah.
you only need 1 man-eater and 1 painkeeper.
Okay.
And basically you have 1 champion go so slow that they keep the unkillable buff on them. It's a challenging comp to perfect, because you have to you really have to guide the stun from the clan boss, which can be a little bit tricky, but there are a lot of guides, there are a lot of resources on it out there, and I've done a couple videos.
Is that on
it.
your website as well yet, or no? Not yet.
All these compositions we're talking about, you can find all of them on my website, DeadwoodJedi.com. It's just under speed tunes. One of the best parts about the website, if real quick, is just that I have been able to accumulate a bunch of the different speed tunes. So when you guys are like, what do I run with my team? There's a list of speed tunes that are there for you. So you can kind of, you can go through all of them, or you can be like, look, I'm looking for an unkillable team, or I'm looking for a team where one guy's going fast, a 4-3 ratio team, or a couple guys. And you can kind of, it's sorted a little bit by that. You can find it, you can look at them all, and that way it makes it a lot easier for people, where you're like, this is what I want to do, how do I do it? Oh, there's a tune for that. And then a lot of times, if people have questions about this stuff, or like whatever, I have my Discord I got like, I don't know, almost 3,000 people in there asking questions about clan boss, their tunes, getting advice. And my Discord, the mods in there are just so helpful, answering questions and trying to help people out.
Heck yeah, man. We'll have links to, and everybody watching will have links to all this stuff in the description below under the show notes. So feel free to feast your eyes with this stuff, because before I even knew who you were, before I knew your YouTube channel, I found your website first. And I used that website, and listen, man, I am not the smartest Raid Shadow Champions player, out there at all, by far. So I really value resources like your website. I went on there, and even I could understand. Like, it was simple, and that's what I loved about it. Right? It wasn't super, like, because I get intimidated by, honestly, when you're like, 3-4-4-1-3-2, like, to me, I'm like, oh shit, like, crap, that might be over the old head there, like, I might not be able to handle all this crap. But when you have the speeds right there, this champion this fast, this champion that fast, and then all you do is press, A1 auto or whatever. It's like, oh, I can do that. That's nice and easy. So, okay, I mean, I'm
really
sure
I really try to have that breakdown like we do on the videos, where we're like, okay, this is the speeds of the champions, and this is the skills you use when you where you're starting it up and then you can click auto. Like we try to have that all right there
Heck yeah.
on for each comp, so it makes it a lot easier for you guys to do it. And, you know, like I get most of these comps from either other content creators or the player base themselves. Like none of this stuff, very little of it is something I've actually created from scratch. Most of it comes from other people. You know,
Yeah.
we just, you know, I'm like, yeah, it's a good tune. Let's put
But
it
you're
on
putting
there.
it, you're aggregating all the information, putting it in one easily digestible spot, which is, can't thank you enough for that. So talk about for a second before we jump into, because I want to get into selfishly again here, how can we optimize my account, man? But
He's
before
like,
we
I see those double chests. Come to me.
yeah, man. All right. But before we do that, I want to talk about let's talk about like free to play or just starting out. Maybe not Nightmare, not Ultra Nightmare, right? So your first maybe
Sure.
6 months in the game, or if you're 100% free to play, you're probably still hitting hard in Brutal Clan Boss. Would you recommend those players? First of all, name a couple comps that don't require epics if that's not too big of an ask. Or maybe just one epic with some options. And then, or a couple epics with some options though, like a role type champion rather than a specific champion. And then talk about when should people start thinking about speed tuning? Is it ever too early?
Okay. So a lot in there. So let me
Yes.
kind of go step by
I have a
step with
tendency
that.
to ask like 8 questions in one.
No, it's fine.
And what's your favorite color, animal, and
Right.
food? Go.
We're gonna go with purple and apple pie. No, I don't. Oh, let's say so as far as like we're talking about like okay. So if you're an early level player, you're fighting easy, normal, hard clan boss. The first thing I'm going to tell you, the best thing that you can do to make your team better is get your champions up to level 60 and master them. That is it. Because once you get your champions mastered, you're pretty much ready to hit brutal. Like that's usually the bar there. When
Okay.
you're facing easy and normal, you still have champions at like level 50, you know? Because once you can start getting War Master and Giant Slayer procs from your masteries, and if you guys don't know what that is, like the mastery tree, it's how you do a lot of your damage against the clan boss. Just to really sum it up simply, I know Ash is going to show it right now, but yeah, as you go down that offensive tree, there's War Master there, and you do a massive amount of damage because the boss has such high HP, and you get a lot of your damage through that. That should be on all your champions. It's either War Master or Giant Slayer, depending on how many attacks they take. So that is such a big difference that usually will take you from hard to brutal.
For example, this Siphi, like I would never run her in Clan Boss, or if I did, she would be putting out like 1/8 of the damage or whatever, because she has she's arena build right now with resistance. But if I was going to be using her in Clan Boss, I'd be running War Master, and it would exponentially increase her damage.
100%. I generally just by putting on War Master on a champion, you're going to improve your damage by 1 to 2 million.
There you go. Yeah.
So it depends how long you last, obviously, and how many attacks they take. But in general, 1 to 2 million just by putting on Giant Slayer or War Master. You do that for 5 champions, all of a sudden you're now 2 key on brutal. And that's why I say when it comes to those early levels, all you have to do is continue progressing, level up your champions, get them to 60, get them mastered. The best thing you can do for your account. Now, when you're trying to move from brutal to nightmare, once you start hitting brutal, that's when I would suggest you want to start looking at speed tuning. You don't need to speed tune for brutal, right? You just need to survive. You need to continue to try to put out as much poisons and debuffs as you can, and just survive and get as many of those War Master and Giant Slayer hits as you can. Like you can let the debuffs, you can let the Giant Slayer hits, you can let all that do the work for you. But once you start getting a Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare, tuning becomes extremely helpful. And so that's when you really want to start looking at it. When I'm in brutal, I start gearing my champions for nightmare.
Okay.
In general, nightmare speeds will run on brutal. Ultra nightmare speeds will run on nightmare. The ultra nightmare speeds don't always run on brutal very well because the speed difference is a little bit larger. But so that's why if you're a level below, you can start tuning for the next level.
Okay.
So if I'm in hard and I really want to tune and I want to tune for brutal, go ahead and tune for brutal. Don't tune for hard. If I'm in brutal, I want to tune for nightmare, not tune for brutal, because that'll allow you to progress to the next step more easily.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and now, and of course, like as far as like the base clan boss stuff, it's the same things everybody else is going to tell you. The most important thing is getting poisons on the clan boss because passive damage. It's easy to do. That's really how you're going to do most of your damage, especially early on. The second most important thing is get that decrease attack buff on or debuff on. Decrease attack does it limits the damage the clan boss does by so much. Well, 50%. It's not that part's not rocket science.
Yeah.
So like that's huge. It lets you survive that much longer. It lets you put up more poisons, let you do more great giant slayer hits and war master hits. That's a big thing. After that, then you want to start bringing in decreased defense. You want to start bringing in weaken, and then you want to start buffing your own champions. So increased defense is a huge buff, helps you survive so much longer. Ally protection is the strongest mitigator damage wise in the game. So that's definitely something you recommend. I recommend. Counterattack is always powerful. There's so many easy things that you can like, or not easy things, but different buffs that you can bring in that can make your team stronger. And can I give one quick tip, especially for new players, as far as how to get better at Clan Boss?
Yeah, of course, please.
You want to go to the campaign, guys. You want to go to the campaign, and when you're leveling up your champions, you're farming for gear. All you want to do is farm Valdemar Straits, farm lifesteal until you get, say, 5 sets of good pieces. All you want to do, farm the boots, farm the chest piece, and farm the gloves. If you think about it, when you go in Dragon, there's like 9 different sets. So you have to hit the right set. And then in that, there's like 6 different pieces. So then you have to hit the right piece. Just go here. You're already at the right, you get the right set, you get the right piece, you can farm it till you get what you want. And all you want to do is just farm till you get 5-star pieces. Especially, and primarily it's the lower 3 pieces, right? You want boots, then you farm till you get 5 speed boots. You want chest pieces, you farm till you get 5 defensive chest pieces, and then you farm gloves, and you do the same thing with the gloves on the defense. Crit rate's nice, but get 5 defensive ones so you can survive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. You don't have to worry about the substats necessarily with the speed boots, and then you can put speed on the top stats. That should pretty much take you to where you want to be.
I wanted to ask that do you recommend going on your, well, let's just talk about all your gauntlets on all champions, right? So gauntlets on all champions for clan boss, provided they're not like maybe your main damage dealer, right? So let's talk about your support champions. Would you recommend building them with like defense, especially like your ally protect champions, and putting them with war master, or should they always be pretty much crit rate, defense, chest, and speed boots?
So my recommendation usually is defense right off the bat, but I mean, you're gonna have to. Every champion's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I was just talking to somebody, and I'd recommend he switches Kale out from an attack chest to a defensive chest. He's like, hey, my damage went down 2 million when I tried that. I'm like, okay, there you go. It's all about how do you maximize your damage. So if you're surviving as an attack champion with attack gear on, then that's great. You're going to do more damage that way. I totally recommend that. In general, though, you're going to get more benefit out of surviving longer and allowing your debuffs to do the work for you, allowing those War Master and Giant Slayer procs to do the work for you, rather than relying on an attack champion doing that work for you. So there's a balance there. You got to kind of find that, and it also depends on the rest of your team. Like if you have ally protection, you can have champions built a lot weaker and survive a lot longer. So point is, if you're dying too early, or like let's say you have one champion dying too early, they definitely need more defense. Like your team is only as strong as your weakest link, right?
Sure.
But yeah, defense is key. And then if they are surviving, or if they're surviving a long time, or they're an extremely good damage dealer, like some of these legendary champions we have out there, crit rate is the next step. So usually what I find is a lot of people, when they're trying to make the transition from Nightmare to Ultra Nightmare, or when they're trying to make the transition from a 3-key Ultra Nightmare to a 2-key Ultra Nightmare, and they're in like 4 to 3 or whatever, adding crit rate to the build can be a significant damage increase. But I also find that when you're really early levels, it's hard to build like good crit rate and crit damage into your team and still stay survivable. But look, like I have a particular style that I like to build in. It's not the only one.
Sure.
There's definitely ways to go about it. I find that building for defense is a lot a lot safer, a little bit more stable, and generally works for everybody, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna survive this long. We're doing this, and then it also gives you the opportunity to experiment. Be like, you know what? Well, let me try bringing some crit rate gloves on this guy, see how that works.
Sure,
And if
sure.
it works, then you like, okay, this is how I need to improve on,
What rares can people run into Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare in your opinion? Obviously, you can run any rare, but like what rares can actually have success with? Let me put a two more fine a point on it. Can you run Apothecary in Kale? In your opinion, obviously you can run Painkeeper because she's part of a lot of these, unkillable comps as well.
Right, right,
But
right, right.
Apothecary and Kale, can you run them in Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare? Are there any other champions I didn't mention that well, Bulwark obviously as well. Thoughts on those rare champions
Yeah.
as it scales into endgame?
Oh, for sure, for sure. There's so many. Here's the thing. I keep. Well, I mean, I don't know if I keep saying this, but like when it comes to the champions in this game, they pretty much most of them have a place in this game. Even the trash champions that we all like. Oh, this guy's no good.
Yeah,
There's probably a place for him. We might just not have discovered it yet.
sure. I love that.
To
I
be
agree.
fair,
Yeah.
like almost all these champions have something in their kit that makes them useful. It's just about finding that use.
Hmm.
Now, obviously, one of the most well-known rare champions is Frozen Banshee. Frozen Banshee's
Sure.
arguably the best
How could I
poisoner in the
not
game.
mention her? Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right. Rare champion. Definitely viable all the way to endgame Ultra Nightmare teams.
Hmm.
Another great champion like that, Apothecary, right? You can run Apothecary pretty much at any level of this game. He's amazing. Um, Kale is obviously the best starter champion in this game. He's an excellent champion. I ran my Kale was my main poisoner for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
I did run him into Ultra Nightmare. Now, to be fair, even with champions like Apothecary, Kale, you start running up against walls once you start getting Ultra Nightmare. It gets a little harder for them to be super effective, and it has really nothing to do with what they bring.
Just his base
It's
stats, right?
or what they so part of it's base stats that can be really hard. It's not about what they do, it's about what they bring. And the problem is, like, most epic champions and legendary champions just bring more to the table. They
Hmm.
bring more to the table, they have better base stats, and so it's easier to let them survive, and they do the same job better. So like Kale's fantastic, right? But you can see he's got a pretty low HP. His defense is okay, but it's definitely not high.
Yeah.
And he brings poison, but he doesn't bring they're not all the big poisons, and they're not on every skill. So there's champions that are epic and legendary that, quite frankly, just do his job and do it better.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
end up phasing him out, which is how it should be.
Sure. Sure.
um Apothecary's an outlier in being one of the best speed champions in this game.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he's the best speed champion in this game, but he's one of the best for sure. And so he doesn't really get tuned out. But speed champions can be a little bit tricky to integrate into clan boss anyhow. But
Yeah.
his skills are, who has a 3-turn cooldown on a speed skill? Not very many champions.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's got good base stats. He plays at Ultra Nightmare level. There are several other rare champions though that I would say are excellent sources for Ultra Nightmare content. Now,
Oh heck
here's the
yeah.
thing:
All right.
if you
Cool.
use all of them,
Yeah.
you're not going to have a great Ultra Nightmare team. Absolutely, you can 4-key with this, but it's challenging. So just be aware of that. But
Are you a
bringing in a
believer in
champion or
Grave
two,
Chill? Do you like Grave Chill?
Grave Chill has a place. Not my favorite champion, I'll be honest with you. I
Hmm.
tried using her before. It's a little bit difficult for clan boss. She has really low base defense, really low base HP, but she does some really nice things. She does bring some extra poisons. She does bring a decreased defense ability. Definitely can be used in clan boss. But for me, when I'm looking at the rare champions, one, because their base attack is not really high, I don't worry as much about the decreased defense and the weaken abilities. What I'm looking at are the utility stuff. So like decrease attack,
Hmm.
getting my poisons out there, making sure my team's protected. So one of the champions I would really point out is Grave Chill. No, not the Grave Chill. Coffin Smasher. One of the
Sure.
Night
Night
Revenant
Rabbit. Yeah.
champions.
Yep.
One of the best, actually, maybe the best decreased attack champion in this game. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to do the most damage. I'm not saying he's going to be the first choice you're going to want to make. You get an epic decreased, attack champion, you'll bring him in.
Sure.
But Coffin Smasher has a triple hit A1. brings an HP burn, reduces the AoE damage to your champions, and has on each of those A1 hits has a chance of placing decreased attack. That means that's gonna stay up on the clan boss
Mhm.
most of the time. It's a 30% chance, booked up to 35 if you get the sniper mastery. Like he's legit. That dude can play. And he hits decently hard when you gear him out. But like he absolutely is a great decreased attack champion. So if you don't have one, Coffin Smasher is somebody I would highly recommend. Now there are a lot of decreased attack champions in this game, and most of the epics outclass him.
Mhm.
But you know, if you just for some reason
Yeah.
don't have the luck of pulling him, he's a
Yeah.
great option. Another champion that I really love and it is fair is decently well known. Marked in the Barbarian faction
Sure.
is surprisingly good and really overlooked. She brings not only an increased defense buff, but also like a block debuff. So when you're facing affinities and struggling with that, Marked is really good to bring in. That's a 3-turn cooldown. She brings a weaker version of the decreased defense too, which can be a little bit nice to have as a little bit of an add-on.
Mhm.
Defensive champion doesn't hit very hard, so there's like limitations to her usefulness. But boy, if you need block debuffs and increased defense, she is your girl.
Yeah. No.
Really, really nice.
Absolutely, yeah. I love these champions too. These are some of my favorite rare champions, and you're right though. Like the more names we name here, the more champions. She's like, wait a second, there
Yeah,
is a lot of options out there if you don't have the most well known champions like the Sepulture Sentinels and the Tyrells and
yep.
whoever, you know. Okay, let's talk about man. I feel like we could talk for like 2 hours. We gotta do a part two, man. We already gotta do a
Right,
part two.
right.
I'm sure
I'm
my
in with
viewers are
that.
eating
I'm
it
in.
up. Yeah. But you know, I'm not gonna make you sit here while I upgrade. I'm sure I'm gonna have to change a lot of gear around and stuff on my account. But you know, looking at my champions, we already talked a little bit about this. What are my options? Like, what's my number one option for? Like, obviously, I have almost all the great kind of legendary champions out there for clan boss. A few
Hashtag jealous.
exceptions, a few exceptions, but a lot of shard opening videos, man. And,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's just you mentioned, you know, like I said, painkeepers and seekers and
Yes.
man eaters. So none of my legendaries will be used, and you think that would be my best comp?
Yeah, right now the meta clan boss team, the one that almost everybody uses, is that same one that Dead on Bolt was using.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the double man eater, the bat man eater, as people like to call it.
Okay.
Basically, what you're doing is you take Seeker as
Hmm.
a turn meter booster, and he just makes your team faster. And then you take 2 man eaters and a painkeeper to keep unkillable up. Man eaters have 5-turn cooldowns on their skills. If you're going twice every turn and the clan boss takes 3 turns before they repeat their cycle of attacks, you know that's going to be six turns that your champions are taking in that time. Well, he has a
Hmm.
5-turn cooldown, so if you use a painkeeper to reduce that to a 4-turn cooldown,
Got you. It
all of
all
a sudden you
makes.
can alternate man eaters every turn, keeping unkillable up, keeping block damage up, and it makes your team viable against all affinities because he blocks debuffs. He makes you completely unkillable, so you last 50 turns, and you're going at a 2-1 ratio, so you're getting in a boatload of attacks. Seeker puts an increased attack buff on your team, and that means you can actually build your damage dealer with attack and build it up. So this is by far the best composition that's out there right now.
Okay.
One, because it's super attainable. You only need one. You actually don't need any legendaries. You can do this
Yeah,
with all epics
because
if you want
Draco's
to.
kind of like a flex spot, right? As long as it has
Exactly.
poison,
I've seen
ideally.
people. I've
Yeah.
seen people do 1 key with Ina. I've seen people do 2 keys with rosin in that spot.
Okay.
It is completely flexible.
Okay.
Draco obviously is just the easiest and best choice,
Yeah. So
out there.
the only legendary I'll be running is Draco. So I mean, I think
Yeah.
the answer to this question is pretty obvious, I guess, when you think about it. But you know, I mean, Seal of Magic in a lot of ways is, you know, in a lot of areas I should say of the game is better than combat tactics in Painkeeper. But
Hmm.
obviously it also is kind of weird. It's on a 5-turn cooldown and it's or a 6-turn cooldown and it's an immediate reset cooldown. So is there a way to use Kymar in any clan boss comps, or would it have to be 50 turns of manual and still not work as effectively as Painkeeper?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. I recently, I maybe like a month or two ago, I did a video with Murder Inc. Not to name drop, but we're
Hey, we're
friends.
both from Massachusetts, so boom. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but I was helping him work on a composition. He likes to call the Heaven and Hell composition, where he used Bellinor and he used Kymar, Heaven and Hell,
Yep.
to make one of these Batman Eater compositions work. And basically, it was a kind of a, it was an odd team, because basically what he did was he brought in an unkillable champion. I think it was Skull Crusher to take the stun. But
Okay.
then what he would do is he'd have one man eater and get his cooldown reset, so that by the time his unkillable buff came back around, it was the next AoE. And so we were able to use a Kymar instead of a Painkeeper. We had to use somebody else instead of the second man eater, but
Yeah.
yeah, we were able to create that kind of a composition.
What is the highest damage you've
the
seen done on Clan Boss?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the possibilities are really endless for things that we can do. And because the calculator's out there, the tools are there for the public to be able to use. Like
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
and anybody can use it. It's free. I don't even
Yeah.
have any ads on my website yet. Like,
You gotta
that's,
throw some up there, man. Yeah, all that hard work.
I know.
Yeah, for sure. All right,
But like,
so yeah.
you can definitely use Kymar. The thing is that he's not as it takes a lot more finessing to really make it work.
It's more of those. That would be one of those intimidating ones where I feel like I don't feel like you'd be able to put that on auto, right?
Oh, you can. That's
Okay.
That's the thing. You can put it on. It just takes a little bit more setup.
Yeah.
Little. I mean, I'd have to look. I know it's possible. We did it using a Mashald. To do it with a Seeker, it's still very viable. It's just I'd have to figure it out a little bit.
Got you.
But it just takes a little bit more setup. It takes a little bit more finesse to figure it out.
Okay.
But definitely doable. But the thing is that I don't know that you benefit really from it any more than you would with the Seeker version of it.
Exactly, and that's at the end of the day, I'm not interested in I'm not interested in paving new ground here. I just want to take advantage of the best team I can.
Yes. Well, and the other thing too is Kymar's really good in other areas of the game.
Sure.
You know what I
mean?
I
don't want to screw him up. Yeah.
He's so helpful in dungeons, so helpful in arena, I should say. He's not the kind of champion you want to use. And this is one of the other benefits of this composition is it allows you to free up a lot of your better champions for other areas of the game, which is really nice, especially with like the Void Tower coming on.
I know
the importance of faction wars. It allows you to build these champions like in much different ways. Valkyrie is one of the best arena champions in this game, but she's also one of the best clan boss champions. If you can free her up from clan boss duties, then you can start using her in arena, and that just makes your team that much better, especially when you have like 3v3 and stuff. It's having that flexibility at least to be able to do that, I find is super helpful.
No, absolutely.
I don't have Draco. I can't do this composition.
So what do I need here? Well, I already know what I need because you sent me the thing, but I'm gonna put it on the overlay right now. So all I need to do is just set their speeds up, right? And yes. Let's talk about Dracomar first, right? Because the other guys are pretty simple. I'm gonna put Wordmaster on all those guys, and that's about it, right?
Here's the thing: when you're building like for all these champions, all you're trying to do is maximize your damage.
Yeah,
because you're
gonna be unkillable anyway.
Pretty much from the jump, man. So like all you need to do is maximize their damage. Now you have Draco. Oh, that's a sexy Draco. So Draco.
So I was able to get him. You told me last night you're like try to get him in Relentless gear. I did, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to. First of all, I had to sacrifice quite a bit because I didn't have amazing Relentless gear like available. So right now I have an issue with his crit rate being 73%. And also, like, obviously, this is great stats overall, but not nearly as high as I could have got them had I went with, crit damage gear or whatever, just tried to optimize attack percentage crit damage. So there is a little bit of a trade-off, but...
Yeah, obviously, there's a trade-off for Relentless gear, right?
Yeah.
But I think with that setup, one of the things I would probably recommend is, like, you probably do want to get your accuracy a little higher. You want to get your crit rate up to 100%. He's going to be doing 30 to 40 million damage for you in this composition. So the more you can get out of them,
I need a crit every time, basically. So I need a crit rate to 100. I need accuracy. You say a little bit higher. Would you recommend?
Yeah.
What is your Yeah.
Ultra Nightmare generally I want to recommend 250.
Okay.
But in principle, anywhere over 230 usually works.
Yep. Yep.
It's just I find I get less resist at 250 than I do at 230, but it's not a significant amount.
Yeah, I went with the attack
So
banner, so that was the reason, obviously, for the
that's
accuracy being a
pretty
bit low. So
yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty great though.
yeah. So anyway, okay. So what do I need to get him to? So his speed needs to be 221 to 227.
Yeah, generally you want
Okay,
221,
so we're really
227.
close there. I can glyph that up. That's
And
easy.
honestly, I think you can actually run with those lower speeds. Um,
Okay.
I think you can run him at basically as long as he's about 218 or faster, he'll work.
Okay.
So yeah,
So what I'm
there's
gonna
a
have to do
cut off there.
is I have a speed set on him right now with a little bit of accuracy and some crit rate, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to. It looks like get rid of some of this gear or hunt for better relentless gear on other champions. Try to get his accuracy up at like 20 points and crit rate up a little bit as well, and then try to keep the speed where it is. Is that pretty much my goal here?
Yeah, basically that's kind of what you're looking at right now.
And you think it's all
Um,
worth it for the relentless set? Because again, just to speak a little bit to relentless, you were like try to get him in relentless if you can.
I mean, it's nice,
Yeah,
when he's
yeah.
look, if you have your when you have your Draco built right, he's going to be doing over 100K on those A1s. I mean,
Yep.
so like getting a
Yep.
couple extra hits is nice, it's pretty nice.
Sure.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Anything else
I,
on Draco?
no, so one of the things I would take him off the support tree.
Okay. Yep.
You're going to be going
He
see
kind of
so
he
here's
kind of came from an all around build like originally. That's why he's kind of
right.
messed up. Yeah.
So the support tree is fine. There's nothing really wrong with the support tree, but in general, going down the defensive tree is really helpful. Because if you can come down to oh god, what's that mastery retribution? Thank you.
Retribution. Yep.
You know what I'm talking about. Because here's the thing: they have unkillable buff on themselves. They do not have block damage buff, so they will be taking some damage. If you can get life drinker on them and you can get retribution on them, they should actually heal up enough along the way so that you can proc this ability and they can get some free counterattacks in. And
Okay.
if you go with that system for all these champions, especially when you add in the
Cool.
Painkeeper heal, it actually can add up as well and get you
Okay.
a lot more attacks in. So
So
for
I'll
all these
change all their.
champions,
I'll change all their. I will sacrifice a little bit more accuracy, unfortunately.
yeah, so
But
that's
yeah,
kind of the trade-off, right?
and the Laura Steel too. That's a little bit of speed though. So it doesn't really matter on him. Yeah, but yeah, okay.
So yeah, so like what I would point out, if you go back there really
Yeah,
quickly,
sure.
one thing I'd point out is so you want to take Life Drinker under the offensive tree, and
Okay,
then you also want to take
that one is no, that's
it's the one with the mouth right next to the
why am I okay?
the
Yeah, sure.
vampire lips.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah. So that one is definitely a good one. And then Grim Resolve, it's on the top level all the way to the right, where you do more damage when you have less HP. You are going to be low on HP. So that is
Sure.
a much better option for this particular build, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would suggest taking those and then taking Retribution.
Perfect.
And I would do that for pretty much everybody. Painkeeper, I would take down the support tree just to get the extra heals.
Okay.
And Innkeeper has a turn meter boost on their A1. Now, I know there's a way to make this work. I don't even know that it takes a lot of adjustments. I know you can make this work when she does have retribution on, but just to ensure that you don't have to make any adjustments or anything, I would just take her down the support tree. You absolutely can't have Cycle of Magic though. That will screw things up.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll just want to make sure
Get
you
rid of
don't have
that.
that.
Yep. Okay.
Blessing gifts is fine. That's totally
Yeah.
okay. That's
Yeah.
something you want.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay. So I can fix her. I'll fix all the masteries on these champions. And then I need her speed to be 239 to 257. That's a wide range compared to what I'm running right now. No worries there. Like that I have that much flexibility in my
you
range.
have a lot of flexibility.
Okay.
So when this comp was originally introduced, most of these champions were like, so your Painkeeper, one of your Man Eaters, and your Seeker were all in like the 247, 248 range.
Yeah.
And then your fast champion was the other Man Eater at 265. And then your slow champion was your DPS. So like that's the original of the composition. There is more play in the ranges here available to you. So like those of you at home that are trying to make this composition, one, make sure like when you're first doing this, try and stick to the listed speeds. It'll make it a lot easier just to get it done. But even if you don't, you can put all this in the calculator and see how it works for yourself. All the skills are there. Make sure to check out the how to use, so you know how to use Painkeeper. Painkeeper is very tricky in the calculator because of the cooldown reduction, so you just want to read up on that. But otherwise, you can actually do this in the calculator on your own, and it will show how this works out for you. And then you can kind of play with the speed ranges there. So yeah, there is a lot more give and take as far as the ranges of the speeds of this.
So I need one man eater at 265 plus, and the other one at 239 to 247. So I actually think my other man eater is already there at 247, 246. So he's good.
Yeah, that's great.
So I don't have to touch him. I'll redo his masteries, but I don't have to touch him otherwise. And then Seeker 249 to 257. And then that's it. The whole team's pretty much done. I just go in there. Is there a setup? Just like there is right now, or?
Yeah, it's real simple. Like it's literally setup is on the first turn. So it's super easy.
Okay, yeah. I'll open up your trusty website and use that as my guide. And I guess that's it, right? In terms of, I'll need a lot of speed gear on these champions, but
that's it.
You mentioned Relentless. Is there any others, artifact sets in general that you think that is maybe, we know the obvious ones like speed and, accuracy, whatever. Anything else that you like for Clan Boss?
I mean, if you want to get crazy on this build, this particular build, you break out the Fury gear. If you wanted to.
Okay. Fury, a set we never talk about here.
No, but I mean, you're doing.
I don't even know what I have. Yeah.
You're going to be real low on HP, so you might as well do a little bit more damage.
That's true. That's true.
It's not something I would like go and farm, but like it's one of those things. If you have it, and it works, go ahead and use it. But yeah, in general, there's nothing in this that is particularly that you need. Particularly, you're unkillable, so you don't need to heal up. I recommend taking, like I said, Life Drinker, just so you get enough HP back so that you can proc the counterattack. But that's it. Like, you don't need anything else. So,
all right, man. Well, I'm going to go ahead and make all these changes, and then, instantly for my viewers, and in a few hours, come back in real life, and we'll see what I can do here. All right, we are back, guys. The lighting's all set. We're good to go. It only took us like less than half an hour to do this, man. And the thing, as we were going through this, you're like, dude, Ash, chill, man. You don't have to get everything perfectly optimized. Just get the speeds right, and let's see if it works, kind of, right? So we haven't even tried it yet.
100%.
Does the order matter? I know order matters like on counterattack, but there's no counterattack, obviously. Does it matter at all, the order I put these guys in?
In this composition, not really.
Okay.
It should be just fine how it is. We don't have to worry about any stuns. We're going to be affinity friendly. We're going to be unkillable from the get-go. So no, it doesn't really matter.
We can actually kill this clan boss right now because you have 4% health. I think might be able to do it. Well, we'll see.
I like the sound
of
that.
All right. So here I go. And I don't know. I'm like kind of excited / nervous.
It's exciting / nervous.
So do I start out? What do I start out with? Like the siphons,
right.
like the
So start off with the A3. Start off with the unkillable. Right from the get go. Boom. A1 on the Seeker.
Okay. I do have my Seeker built out with crit rate gauntlets now on him. Just FYI, guys. Okay.
Painkeeper. Man eater. A2. You can use the siphon on this.
Okay.
Painkeeper, use the A3. Reset those cooldowns.
Boom.
And then Draco, use whatever. A3 works great. And then you click auto.
Wow. All right. That's it, huh?
That's it.
All right. All right. So we will see. I'll stay with it for like a couple turns to just make sure we don't die in a second. Or anything doesn't go wrong, and then we'll take it to the viewers when we're at the end, and then in maybe a video or two, I will optimize like the damage and stuff, and see if we can one key Ultra Nightmare.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about that. I think it's gonna happen.
You think it's gonna happen? Do you think I'll be close on this one or no?
Oh yeah. Oh, you'll be. Well, I don't know. I don't know how close we'll be on this one. It kind of depends, but it could be. Could very easily be. I'll be surprised if you don't do at least 50 million damage on this.
All right, man. Well, hey, I mean, things look pretty good right now, so I guess we will. Yeah, go ahead.
If I could just let people kind of understand what's going on here. Basically, each man you're just putting up unkillable every other turn between the clan boss attacks. And Painkeeper's cooling them down to make sure that their ability comes back fast enough. Seeker, you'll see, puts up. Seeker's really important for this because right there he puts an increased turn meter boost on everybody, but then he also takes an immediate turn, and he's able to. So basically, it's on a 2-turn cooldown. So basically, in between each clan boss attack, he can do that, and that's how we're able to maintain the speeds and able to take. Everybody's able to take 2 turns every time.
And who thought of this? Like, who was the person that came up with the first like Seeker team? I don't know who. Like,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, Napoleon Camembert. He actually came up with a calculator version. He brought it out right before I brought out mine, and it's a brilliant thing. I actually had to use some of the stuff that he came up with to make mine effective. And he's an awesome dude. He's actually in my clan now. We are in the same clan, and he's the person that's coming up with this crazy comp I'm going to show this weekend. So
Dude,
he's
that's
a hell of a dude,
All right.
yeah. But he's the first one that came up with using Seeker.
I was gonna say,
really
like, it's genius on Seeker, because for so long, I mean, I don't know, maybe there were like clans doing this somewhere that I didn't know about, but no one was using Seeker in Clan Boss, you know?
No,
like,
he was an arena. He was an arena champion.
That's it.
Great at
Specialist almost,
but
you know?
nobody thought about using him for clan. Yeah, but we're at the point now. One of the side benefits of not getting a lot of new content in this game is we try to really find it ourselves. And we've been able to find stuff like using Seeker in this comp, and it's pretty awesome, I have to say.
Heck yeah. So yeah, I mean, we'll let it run here. Boom! There it goes, guys. So 2 hours after we started this video, I don't know how long the final video will be, but Deadwood Jedi, we did it, man. 50. I mean, this is doable for me. And look at this damage at the end. Let me move myself out of the way a little bit here and move you out of the way. But essentially,
55 million.
Yeah, we got the overall damage was great, 55 million. Maneater number 1, almost 6. Dracomorph, 32 million. Maneater number 2, almost 5. Seeker, 8. Painkeeper, 3.3. So, I mean, thank you so much, first of all. Hell of a job. Hell of a job. And again, like a perfect reminder for all you guys to check out Deadwood Jedi's website and his YouTube channel, social media, everything will be linked in the description below. When you look at these final numbers here, what are you thinking in terms of optimization? Obviously, there's a way I can still go to build on this team, and I will update my viewers as well. But, on these numbers that you're seeing here, how does that compare to other numbers that you've seen with a team like this?
I mean, obviously, this is great. And like you said, we're not optimized. You still have plenty of crit rate to build into Draco. You're going to see a huge improvement. You're going to be surprised at the damage that Seeker can do.
Okay.
Seeker puts up an increased attack buff on everybody. That is a big buff for people like Draco and for himself as far as the damage goes. So Seeker can probably do about twice as much damage there, which is going to get you in range. You start building crit rate on those man-eaters, you're going to start getting closer to 8 million. 10 million amount of damage per run. There's a lot of room for improvement on this team right now, which is kind of scary considering that you're only at 56 million first run without even optimizing stuff. I mean,
man. Yeah, I'm excited. So you think this could be a reliable one key team?
Yeah, it is. It is. I have a bunch of people in my clan run this. Obviously there's people in your clan that run this, and you can see like it's pretty consistently one key. If you fully optimize it, you can probably get pretty close to 100 million damage. It's a lot. That takes a little bit of work, but there's you can do some stuff with this composition.
All right, man. Well, heck, thanks again for coming on, being so generous with your time. We really appreciate it here. I'm sure my viewers would love this video. So any final words, thoughts, anything like that before we let you go?
No, man, this is so much fun. I enjoyed talking with you so much. This was great.
Yeah, we talked all throughout the half an hour, the 20-minute clan boss battle too, just about arena teams, stuff like that. So I'd love to have you back on again in the future. Maybe we can focus on arena. Maybe we can talk about different clan boss strategies or anything else in the game. So thanks again, man.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
No problem, guys. That's going to do it for the video. Hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Again, reminder, Deadwood Jedi's information in the description below. Also, if you like the content here, I invite you to subscribe as well. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.